Good morning, everyone. This is Stasch, and welcome back to Uptown Villa Park. We're glad to be here on this beautiful Tuesday morning here in May 17th, 2016. And I have my two co-hosts with us again here today. First of all, let's meet Dennis. Hi, Dennis.
Good morning. How are you today, Al?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
Very good, very good. I'm up and about and keep moving every morning.
That's a smile on your face?
Thank God, a smile on my face, and thank God I can get up every morning.
Do you know that we have royalty here with us today?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I'm sitting next to him.
You're sitting next to him, and you probably know him as a guest of ours, or host of ours, right?
Yes.
And let me see if I can find a picture of him, put up on the screen.
Well, I can hold up a picture of him right here.
Well, we got it. We got it.
We got to stay here.
What is that? What is that, Sid? Sid, that's a picture of you. What's going on here?
That's when I was between two beautiful ladies of the Senior Citizens Committee.
Senior Concerns Commission.
Senior Concerns Commission.
Right.
Too. And I had just been named Senior Citizen of the Year for Villa Park.
Get out of here.
And
congratulations.
Well, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's so many more people that deserve it than me. But I will accept. But first of all, let me say, hi, Al.
How are you?
It's a pleasure to be here. Hi, Dennis. And
Do you
morning.
qualify
It's
as
a
a
pleasure to be
senior?
with you guys.
Do you qualify as a senior? I just want to make sure that everything's kosher here.
Yeah, I just made it.
You just made it.
And by the way, on June 24th, I'll remember one of these days, June 24th, I will have hit the 90th year of being on this earth.
90 years old. What year were you born?
1926.
Okay, that's correct. We verified that he's right.
Okay.
Well, I can still remember something. Not everything.
Sid, you mentioned that you got the award. You did get the award. It was in the senior newspaper. There's a copy of it for you. Nice picture and all. But I want to congratulate you on getting the Senior of the Year for 2016. But, you know, it says here, every time anybody sees you, they get a hug. You always give everybody a hug.
Well,
I got one already this morning. Don't come near me again.
hugs are so much better than just saying hi. And
Yeah.
it's just a thing of affection, a matter of affection. It's just
Totally
saying, hey,
agree.
I like you. And
Totally
it's a
agree.
physical way of saying
Well, I
it.
know, but you're a dirty old man, aren't you?
Well, I have been accused of that. In fact, in days of yore, I have been accused of being a dirty young man.
Okay, let's go back to other things on the topic here, because I don't know where we're going with this. But Sid, what are your duties as Senior of the Year? I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, they tell me I'm going to ride in the parade, and of course to get a car. So car dealers, I need a convertible.
You need a convertible.
Yeah, and if Jesse White, before he retires, if he allows me to drive, I'm going to want to be. I might buy a car.
Well, this is a big problem. The fact that you won this, and by the way, I sent in a nominating letter for you.
Oh, well,
I did.
thank you. I
Just 2 words, pick Sid. That's all I said. But that means that if you're in the car at the 4th of July parade, then there's nobody running the parade.
You know, I do have to brag, saying that in years back I've worked on just about every job in the parade, including being the Grand Marshal and being the chairman of the committee.
Did you ever pick
Several
up after
times.
the horses on any of the parades?
I'm sorry, that's one of the few things I didn't do.
Yeah.
I was in a parade in Maywood where the guy who put it together, and our guy didn't recognize us, another VFW man.
Yeah.
And so we were the color guard last in the parade, and we stepped around the horses, the remains of
Yeah.
the horses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, your duties then are going to be to be an honored guest in the 4th of July parade,
Yeah.
riding in a car that someone's going to donate for the day, right?
Right.
Okay. And what else?
And I have to find out.
Yeah.
Because what does it do other than an honor? And an honor that I don't really know is that.
Well,
I
Sid,
don't
what,
know, but-
your honor has been how many years doing this now? How many years do you volunteer?
Oh,
to work at the
golly.
VFW?
You know, I would say the volunteer work that I've done has never been work. It's always been fun, and it's always been rewarding in the self-satisfaction.
But you got like many decades of VFW. I mean, 1930s,
40?
right?
Well, when no, not the
1940s.
30s.
You weren't there. You weren't old enough then.
When I got out of the service, I was Scoutmaster for a year,
What? Cub Scouts.
Boy Scouts.
Okay.
I think it was Troop 53, and if I remember right, we did. We met at Westmore School. A little aside to that, I asked a cop at the time that was pretty outgoing, and he was gruff but had a heart of gold for a cop.
Yeah.
Scott Dack was his name, and I asked Scotty to come in and do something for the Scouts, and with the idea that these kids, all neighborhood in that time, and that they would know, instead of hollering out, "Hey, you dirty coppers," they would say, "Hi, Mr. Dack," or "Hi, Mr. Policeman."
Yeah.
And it did. Scotty said, showed him how fingerprints were identifiable at that time, and naturally he made me the culprit.
Yeah.
And later on he said, "You know, you're a bad guy to me." I says, "Why, Scotty?" He says, "Well, you know, you're breaking my arm." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Every time I go through Westmore, all the kids are waving at me, and I have to wave back."
That's good.
So I thought we did that we accomplished what we wanted to do. You know, that I thought was good.
We'll get back to the VFW now. After that, you did a couple more things, right?
Well, I did. One of the first jobs I had in reality, well, no, I would take that back. I helped form the American Field Service unit at Willowbrook, and as such, I was the second president of the committee, and we had, for that, we helped getting exchange students in. In fact, one time we had a girl, I think our first one we brought in was a girl from Italy who was very, rather, well, she looked Italian, and she spoke perfect English, Oxford English. So you see an Italian speaking Oxford English in America, where we just talk American, we don't talk English.
Yeah.
And that was fun. That's where I started out at, and of course I was a chairman of one of the parades. I think in '67, I think it was in '68. I did it.
Well, let's bring it up to this weekend. What's going to happen? We got something coming up this weekend that's pretty significant for the VFW, right?
We have it's significant for the whole community because we've got heroes or gyros for heroes.
Yeah.
And these are made by our own Dennis Geisman. He gets meat, the gyros meat that is, well, you can't buy it down here.
Yeah.
It's so much more. It's 20% more lamb. It's on, and he just cooks it just exactly so. And hopefully he's going to come down with 2 cones that they circle around, and so that he can have one always cooking and ready to go, so we don't have a long wait. So the last time we did this, we had people waiting for a half hour or even longer sometimes to get their sandwiches.
And the point of Gyros for Heroes is that you're selling gyros as a fundraiser for our first responders here in Villa Park, right?
No, this one will be to the benefit of VFW.
The VFW.
That is, and
other heroes.
Well, we do have some. We do have quite a few in there.
Yeah.
And this will do things to help keep the building going a little bit. Will be that way if necessary, and for the patriotic and the charitable good programs that we do have, helping. One of our slogans is "Vets helping vets," of course, but we do a lot more than that. We're very active in the community.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you've done a great job of talking over us getting our guests set up on stage here. Not that we're using you, Sid, but we are very honored to have our guest here today, Mr. Pete Di Cianni, from the DuPage County Board.
Thank
How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good to see you
Amongst
again.
great people.
Good to see you again. Yeah, you got some good people here, but you're our honored guest today. And
See a sound?
I hope he's got sound.
Say something, Pete.
Hello?
Yeah, he
Just
does.
talk.
You're good.
Great,
You're good.
great, okay.
That's a lousy sound check, but I saw lights come on, so we're hopefully pretty good.
We'll hope for the best.
Mr. Di Cianni, can I call you Pete?
Sure.
Okay. First of all, you're in family company here because you're a lifelong resident of Elmhurst, right?
Yes, correct.
And that meant you went through the Elmhurst school systems and went through York High School.
Correct.
And I believe we have 2 York Dukes here.
I believe so.
Yeah, Sid's one from what year?
I was supposed to get out in 44, but in 1944 I was somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay. So you're a class of 1944.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I am class of 1973.
Well, you're just a kid.
I'm a kid, but wait, there's even more newer York Dukes, and that is our guest here. You were class of 1980.
1984.
84.
1984.
Let me do this, Sal. Let me say, Pete, I graduated.
It's a pleasure to graduate 40 years after you. And thank you for serving to give us that opportunity.
Yeah. Sid was a World War II vet, and we'll talk about that more as we go along. But Mr. Di Cianni, Pete, you grew up not only through the school systems for the public school systems, but also then went on to go to Elmhurst College, right?
I did. I came.
Did you have a car? Were you able to get out of town?
Well, I came from a pretty large family. We had 7 children, and I was the oldest. And
Okay.
so we all had gone through Catholic schools up until high school, and then all of us went to York High School.
At
And,
Catholic school in Elmhurst being Immaculate Conception, right?
Actually, I went to Mary Queen of Heaven.
Mary Queen of Heaven,
And I
okay.
had Sister Honorata and Sister Alberta. So,
Wow, you remember that.
Yeah,
Did you have Sister Alberta?
I did.
I had Sister Alberta, 8th grade teacher.
No kidding.
In Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
And she went to Siena after
Siena. And actually, she taught my aunt at Siena School, my Aunt
that.
Pat.
We had a reunion for Siena
Uh-huh.
from the kids I went to
A lot
school with.
of West Siders came.
yes, they did.
Yeah, and that's where my family was from, too, was
Yeah.
the
I
West
have a
Side.
friend teaching down there right now, volunteering. He went to Catholic schools and all. And he's still down in Siena right now, volunteering.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had some great teachers, coaches that really instilled hard work and good ethics and morals, and I think gave me the tools that I was able to not only start a business, raise a family, but also serve electedly in several capacities to really give back to the community.
Well, you've done a lot of things here in the area, and I want to first start out with Elmhurst itself, your hometown.
Yes,
You still live in Elmhurst,
I
right?
do.
And you have a business in Elmhurst, right?
My business is actually in Addison.
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 I
So
started
you,
it- I
you-
started
you got
the
a car.
shop.
You spread out.
I started the shop out of the garage at 359 Highland in Elmhurst, and we outgrew the garage pretty quick, and I actually went behind my father's insurance office for about 5-6 years. Then I bought the building in Addison in 1991 after graduating Elmhurst College School of Business in 1988.
Okay, so tell
So-
us the name of the business that you have.
I started as Pete's Print Shop.
Okay, Pete's Print Shop,
Little one man shop with a AB Dick 360 and a hand cutter out of the garage.
Uh-huh.
And in 1991, we
A
renamed
hand
the
cutter, wow.
Yeah, we renamed the company DiCianni Graphics, so we were selling a lot of additional services, creative, design, and then now we actually are into broadcast as well. We're into direct mail.
So you're not just an ink
what-
spreader.
No, we're a full-service marketing
Okay.
communications firm, so it's
Okay.
a lot of fun, and I 32 years now in the business.
Yeah. So you do all of those things on your day job, but now you went on to be elected to be the mayor of Elmhurst.
Yes, my first role, I think, in public service was really running the Elmhurst Children's Fund.
Okay.
I ran the Elmhurst Children's Assistance Foundation from 1996 to 2006, and that really kind of spiced my interest in public service. I really enjoyed helping kids with sickness and disability, and later, our mayor was our chairman of that charity. I was the president and
Okay.
director of that group, and we raised about $1 million in
Wow.
10 years and helped a lot of families and helped people from Villa Park and Addison, and
Great.
we kind of spread our webs a little bit to try to help as many kids as we could. So 2009 I ran for mayor. And I was the second mayor of Italian descent. And Mayor Marcucci preceded me,
Yeah.
and it was a privilege and honor to serve the town that I grew up in and still live in today and love.
Yeah.
So in 2012, after 2 floods, the county became a bigger concern for me
Right.
because I was trying to help my community and communities around me, like Villa Park. And I ran for the county board. I was the first mayor to succeed to higher office. And
I want to get to that right away
Mhm.
because that's a significant thing, and as you well know,
yeah,
the pain of flooding is widespread, and it came to a point or a pinhead in Elmhurst because of the nature of the flooding that took place. It was pretty
Mhm.
significant.
yes.
In fact, our senator made visits out there to try to help from a federal level. But you're right, it's more of a regional problem task, which it was in the past and it still is.
Yes.
You know, with the quarry system that was incorporated years ago, there's still some issues, and that caused you to go on to be DuPage County board, right?
Correct.
And
Yes,
what can you do there?
You know, we have, well, the county's in charge of stormwater for the entire, 36 municipalities.
Because
that,
the water doesn't just originate in Elmhurst or Villa
no,
Park, right?
No, exactly. Typically, the water comes from the north and heads south, so it comes from the Wisconsin area and heads down. Salt Creek is the biggest challenge we have in the
Right.
county and affects the towns like Addison, Elmhurst, Villa Park, Oak Brook, et cetera.
Right.
So I knew that, the challenges that Elmhurst and Villa Park and all the towns, I could only do so much as a mayor.
Yeah.
And the county has a $500 million budget. My budget as a mayor for stormwater was not a whole lot. And I needed to bring home resources, not only to my town, but to towns that were affected around me.
Sure.
And I was like the mayor, stormwater guy, elected by the mayors to represent the mayors at the county. So I was a stormwater commissioner in 2009, elected by all the mayors from DuPage County to be their voice at the county and to bring home dollars and resources to help their towns. So it was an honor to not only serve them from 09 to 12, but then to be elected as a county commissioner and a board member of the board to actually cast those final money votes and appropriations to bring home dollars, which is so important for our towns to be able to remediate these flooding issues, to help towns like Villa Park, which are hugely affected, Elmhurst.
Downers Grove.
Yeah, Downers Grove, absolutely.
Great mixed up.
Lyle. District 1 and District 2, which Villa Park and Elmhurst are in both districts, are the worst affected by flooding in the county. And I'm proud to say that we've brought home more money to District 1 and 2 than any other district to help alleviate some of these
I
challenges.
don't think the people in town knows what Stone Quarry does.
Yeah. Well, the Elmer Stone Quarry is at one time was mined for business purposes, and a lot of our asphalt and concrete was derived out of that quarry. The Hammerschmidts actually owned that for years, and being an Elmhurst College alum, they're very philanthropic with our college, Hammerschmidt Chapel. But after the 1986 flood, it became a very much of a necessity to purchase the quarry and use it for stormwater. So DuPage County, along with the city of Elmhurst, and all the municipalities said we need to buy this quarry. So DuPage County took the lead on it, purchased, I believe, the quarry for $28 million back in the early 90s, 1991-ish. But it is the largest stormwater asset that DuPage County owns and has. And it's great that we have it right in our community, because literally in 1986, when I was a sophomore at Elmhurst College, I was canoeing down streets in Elmhurst to visit friends and try to help them get out of their homes.
We had Easterville Avenue, everything underwater.
Yeah.
In Villa Park.
And Villa Park and Elmhurst are just devastated. We're talking tens of thousands of homes were underwater at that time in both of our communities. So the quarry really has done a great job in helping us out. Now we have a lot of localized issues, and we're trying to use the quarry even better than we were able to use in the past. So we're trying to use those assets and take advantage of every opportunity we can to help our local communities.
Well, you sit on a couple of different committees at the county level. One of them is economic development, right? And
Yes.
you're
I'm vice chairman.
vice chairman of that committee. We just had a economic development meeting here in Villa Park. Our Jan Fiola and the other directors brought together some developers, and we're about to launch a really significant project here in Villa Park that's awesome, the Garden Station project. But one of the people that presented at that meeting, I think his name was Brian Gay from Choose DuPage.
Sure.
Talked about the progress that's being made here in DuPage County in terms of new businesses coming in. And I think he quoted somewhere around 200 plus businesses in the last year have come to DuPage County. Why?
Startups and
What's going on?
Well, first of all, as a former mayor and the vice chairman of this committee, my role has always been economic development. I always have been a firm believer in that if we keep our county and our towns fertile, meaning keep our tax base low, keep our transportation and ability to get to and from and through our towns in a good position, we are going to be more competitive in some of the other communities around, especially communities to the east, being Cook County, that have very high tax bases. So in between our compass that with good residential and good public education, now you've got really a fertile farm to create businesses, because those businesses want to employ people, and those people that are employed typically want to live in the communities that they work. In DuPage County, about 40 to 50% of the people that work for their companies live in the communities that they work in, which I think is important. So if we create a fertile environment, we have businesses that want to be here in DuPage County, want to be here in Villa Park, want to be in Elmhurst, want to be in this great county that we have, they're going to want to live here. They're going to want to shop here. They're going to want to have dinner here. They're going to want to raise their kids here, just like I did, and just like my father did. So I think that's a great thing. And Choose DuPage is our public-private partner that is funded by the county and by private corporations, and they've done a great job. John Carpenter is the head of that group. He was preceded by Director Betelov, who's now the head of the Tollway Authority. And I think it shows that DuPage County has leadership when the governor chooses the head of Choose DuPage to run the Tollway Authority as the director, and he takes the former chairman, Bob Schillerstrom, and makes him the chairman of the board. I think it shows the leadership and the type of character of people that we produce here in DuPage County, and are brought on to run large state agencies.
I saw you about a week ago at Choose DuPage dinner
Yes.
in Drury Lane. There was almost 2,000 people there.
Yeah, we had a full house.
You had a packed house.
And
I know people got turned away.
yeah,
But I mean, it was a packed house, and all from DuPage County, all businesses in the area, they want to get involved. They want to be involved.
and I think we heard some good speakers. We had Mr. Viola from Northwestern Healthcare.
That's right.
We had the gentleman from the tech industry, and then there was the gentleman from the manufacturing industry. And I thought the gentleman from the manufacturing industry was very smart on mentioning about education and vocational education, and the fact that most high schools don't teach shop anymore. In Willowbrook, in Addison Trail, and at York High School, we teach shop.
That's right.
I started my business out of a shop class that I took, 4 years, and I built it to $1 million business, and I employ about 12 people. So we get it in DuPage County. We teach the trades. We teach. Not every kid's going to go to Harvard. College of DuPage has got great programs too, which a lot of our kids, including my kids, take advantage of: nursing and business and manufacturing. So we're a very, very, I think, a very forward-thinking county. We try to have something for everyone.
Yeah.
Education is so important because it really cultivates the young people, and but having the businesses want to come here for, I think, that whole climate of
Choose DuPage also had a Web3, startup businesses,
we do.
and they're very active in that. And they also have federal government help out there with SCORE.
Right.
To start up, if you want to start your own business, come talk to them. They're there to help you.
Well, one of the things that you were also involved in was Western Access of O'Hare.
Yes.
And there's a pretty significant $3 billion project underway outside of our District 2 of your area and also DuPage County.
Correct.
But it's pretty darn close.
It's regional.
Yeah, and it's going to have a big impact, we hope, on the western end of O'Hare, which includes mostly DuPage County, right?
Correct. I had the privilege back when Governor Quinn was the governor. In 2009, a whole set of mayors were elected. And I was told that Western Access would never happen. The Elgin O'Hare Expressway would never be built because there was too much division. And with all new mayors being elected in 2009, I think we realized that the airport was going to happen. So now we said, okay, so that was a whole other issue because some mayors didn't want to, but once we saw this happening.
Meaning it's going to happen expansion.
Expansion.
Yeah.
So by the time I was elected in 2009, O'Hare expansion was going to happen. So now we as mayors said, listen, It's going to happen. We can't fight this. Let's make the best of it. Let's take advantage of a huge transportation effort that has been underway for years but never has made it to fruition. So the governor created a commission, which I sat on, of all mayors, that were able to unite all the mayors along the boundaries: Addison, Villa Park, Elmhurst, Wooddale, Itasca, Hanover Park, that whole extension there, Elk Grove. And all those mayors said, you know what, we want to take advantage of economic growth. The airport's going to happen, and let's make this an economic engine for us. We're hoping for a third terminal, which would actually be the biggest shot in the arm along with that road. It's a $3.4 billion national project of significance for the area. It will create about 60,000 permanent jobs for the region, which is incredible. And we're about $300 to $400 million short on the monies right now between what they're going to be able to toll and to what we need to finish the project. So my goal is to, at the county, and hopefully I'm pursuing a goal federally, is to try to bring home as much dollars as we can to make that $3.4 billion, because the more dollars we can bring home, the more we can make that project happen to the full execution, meaning off-ramps, on-ramps. When you have those types of access routes, those towns along those corridors are going to really benefit, and the towns next to those corridors. So while Villa Park doesn't have an off-ramp, we're going to see benefit to the whole region. So
and right there, I mean, it's 355.
Correct.
And that is going to intersect with significant traffic coming off the west end of O'Hare.
Correct.
And if they start going south, they're in DuPage County.
You got it. And there's the east-west leg to this. There's the Elmhurst leg that connects the route to 294.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's the north leg that goes into Cook County. So really, it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
Even Elk Grove is going to see a benefit to this as well too. So those mayors.
And I'm encouraged by what you said about a western terminal.
Right.
Being where passengers would depart and arrive and not go on the eastern or northern side.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
I think a western terminal would be very important. It would drive more competition to O'Hare Airport, which would bring in more competitive rates, drive in more commerce for freight. And also, I think with the long wait lines that we see at O'Hare right now, it would also ease that pressure. I'm flying out to D.C. in a couple weeks, and I'm going to dread the 2 to 3 hour wait. If we had a western terminal, you'd have a lot more ease of, in my opinion, of less pressure on the main terminal.
Don't you politicians get special?
No, I fly Frontier just like I'm a discount flyer.
Pete, I've had this in my head ever since I think I drove it in Los Angeles, LAX. Why can't we, with the technology we have now, build a tunnel underneath the airport so that the east-west, the Elgin O'Hare expressway, instead of going all the way around the airport to the terminals, go underneath there and connect with the Stevenson Expressway, or the Kennedy Expressway.
Well, what he's describing here solves that problem by putting a terminal on the west end that you don't have to traverse over to the other side.
Well, you're still going to have to go to the other side because there's so many different places that you're going to have to go.
Well, you do now from shuttles that go around the airport. I mean, that's Terminal 1, 2, and 3.
This above ground structure is hard enough to build. Going underground is even more tougher.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with right-of-ways, we're dealing with multiple jurisdictions, and we have everybody kind of playing nice in the sandbox right now. So I would say to try to change this to an underground structure would be tough, virtually impossible. But having said that, this will encompass rail. It will encompass BRT, which is bus rapid transit. So we're going to have some really nice transportation initiatives on top of this road, which will be great for our seniors, be great for the people that want to travel, and hopefully take some cars off the street as well too. So
I noticed also that the Metro system runs almost on the border, if not right through the southern end of O'Hare.
Right.
But there's no station.
Correct.
Okay. Which would be cool to have that and link in with the loop of shuttles or tram systems that go through the airport.
Yeah, but the new metro is going up north out of Franklin Park now. The new metro train going up that way. The stations are not there yet, but they're coming.
Yeah, but there's one that goes right along the southern border of O'Hare.
Yeah.
And that should be a station.
When this is finalized, we will have probably one of the biggest economic booms to our region. And that's exciting because when you could move goods and services around quickly, when you could have easier access to industrial parks in Addison and Villa Park, and you look at Elk Grove and the northern end of Elmhurst, we've got our industrial park up there. The more ease of flexibility for our businesses to move product around. I'm in a product business. I've got 2 trucks on the street. To be able to save time and money is really important for businesses and for people to get around. And again, I think with that Western terminal, we'd have more freight, you'd have more ability for passenger flights. I think it'd be a win-win.
Yeah, and already, as we pointed out on when we had Tom Cullerton, Illinois State Senator Tom Cullerton here, he and we talked about what is the busiest airport in the United States. Well, Atlanta, Hartsfield Airport has the most passengers, and O'Hare has the most flights in and out. Airplanes going over our heads and landing at O'Hare. So there is capacity for more passengers.
Sure.
And another terminal would accommodate more passengers. Makes sense to me.
Absolutely. And with the change of runways now, we've got more diagonal, more parallel runways. So I think the flow is going to work better as far as additional flights in and out of O'Hare. We're working with some of those newly affected homeowners that are dealing with some of the noise issues. We're trying to get timing with aircraft as far as takeoffs and landings. So we rotate and we try to be mindful of those homes that are being affected because it's challenging especially when it's a new runway to those people. Having grown up on the north end of Elmhurst on the diagonal runway, we had the planes quite a bit. So we're trying to be mindful of our residents as well too, and I'm advocating for a lot of those residents, making sure that we can get quieter jets, we can alter the routes so that everybody kind of shares the pain a little bit in dealing with that.
And we've seen them recently, a couple of hours of flights coming back over that runway that we used to experience all the traffic from over Elmhurst and Villa Park. On the diagonal.
But when you come back in on an airplane and you go over the hot dog house at 83 in St. Charles, you know where you are.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
That's a good landmark.
It's a good feeling when you see
you're home.
When you see the water towers.
Yes,
right. Go ahead,
how do you educate more people to go? We're trying to educate people by having this show here. We've talked to the township, we've talked to the county.
Sure.
How do we educate people to get the negative out of politics?
Well, we do. While we live in a state that's challenging, we have a lot of good going on, especially locally. I think you've got cooperation at your local levels, probably better than you've ever seen before.
Yes, we have.
Again, we've got Elgin O'Hare Western Access was never going to happen unless you got the mayors to buy in. So here you've got, and that was holding up economic development. So now you've got all your mayors buying into the project. You're seeing more and more collaboration. You're seeing the county work more friendlier with the towns than I believe they've done in a long time. I know with Elmhurst, for instance, we had 100 homes that were flooding just east of the quarry, and we would have to pump the water into the creek, which would then go into the quarry. And I said, as a mayor, why can't we just put a pipe in the back of the quarry and save about $20 million in infrastructure? Well, now with mayors at the county board, that just happened. In the last year and a half, we're allowing municipalities to be able to go right into a county structure and save money on having to go all the way into the creek first and then having the creek spill into the quarry.
Does that alleviate flooding in those 100 homes yet, or no?
Those 100 homes, that project is underway as we speak.
So they're going to reduce their flooding.
Are going to see huge benefit.
Great.
But prior was a struggle because we'd have to figure a way. Okay, can we store the water in a park? Can we store the water? Can we build a pipe and get it to the creek quicker? And all those were very expensive things because one, intergovernmental between the parks, they don't want to give up their fields, which is understandable. But it's the expense of doing that as well too. Here we've got an asset sitting right in our backyard. That why Elmhurst and Villa Park. We in my opinion, we give a lot to have that asset there. And give a lot up. That could be industrial park. That could be homes. That could be revenue for our town. But we're storing water there. So and if Villa Park has a way to get water there, we'll now that door is open to help them as well too.
And this area that you're talking about, I'm familiar with because I have relatives that live there.
Sure.
And actually helped them with flood damage when they had it.
Yes.
We're talking not along the shores of Salt Creek.
No.
We're talking about all the way up to York Road and Madison and Washington Street.
All up to Ville Avenue and Ville Park.
Yeah, in Elmhurst, and then other areas that are far from
Right.
the creeks and waterways that go through our towns.
The two challenges we have with flooding are creek water and sanitary and stormwater. And you know, being that the quarry's done a pretty good job at keeping the water from the creek in the creek, a lot of our challenges now have been these really quick rainfalls where our own sanitary systems and our sewer systems can't take the water in fast enough and move it around. So we, you know, a lot of, some of the towns are still on combined systems, which is a sanitary and a sewer system combined in one. I know Villa Park has a lot of that.
Yes.
Elmhurst, you know, went to a separate system, but even with the separate system, most of our homes are old and they're on the old system.
Yes.
So they haven't split off. So we have the challenge of an antiquated sanitary system that we're
Okay,
trying to
can we
upgrade.
step up
Yeah.
now one
Yeah, yeah.
step? You're going to go to Congress.
Mm-hmm.
And when you make Congress, what are you going to bring to Ville Park?
Well,
Let's wait, before we get there, you jumped away. You
I
jumped
like
way
the
ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
I had something going back to the airport and the noise situation. Is the county, do they have any program, and along with the county, buying out people that are really this noise level
Well,
would be so high?
we haven't done buyouts for noise. We're doing buyouts for stormwater right now. We've got people on a list who are trying to buy up properties that constantly
Ville
flood.
Park.
We've done that.
But what we're trying to do is work with the federal government and with the city of Chicago for more soundproofing. The way they actually give out soundproofing money is somewhat flawed. They have a boundary that if you're within a certain boundary, you're allocated soundproofing windows, windows, roof, etc.
Air conditioning,
So
yeah.
exactly. The challenge is that boundary needs to be extended, okay? Because we've got bigger planes flying in O'Hare that have ever come in before. We've got more numbers.
They turn.
They turn, and we're trying to get them to turn more so that they don't fly over the same house every 2 minutes or every 30 seconds. You know, so we're trying to get that zone of soundproofing expanded, and actually at the federal level, that's what I will be fighting for, is to expand that zone, that noise zone, so that we can get more funding for windows, for air conditioning, et cetera, so that people can actually improve their homes.
But in the summertime, people don't want to stay inside, but they're going to have to. Even in Villa Park, the routes where I live have changed, so that I can be outside quite a bit, and I'm very thankful for that.
Correct.
But over at my daughter's house, which is farther away from O'Hare,
Yep.
we have to stop a conversation for maybe 20 minutes at a time. Planes will be coming in over, and
Yep.
every 2 minutes we have to stop and say,
Right.
and I agree. I agree that that things have to change, and I agree that it's a problem. I have to completely agree, but it's a problem not only for DuPage County, for Cook County, for the residents, individuals,
Right.
but it's a problem for the federal government because they have somewhat of a control of how the planes come in and out,
That's correct.
and everybody has to work together.
That's right. No doubt about it. And one of the challenges, it's a challenge but an opportunity. When I was mayor of Elmhurst, the biggest calls I got were airplanes, train noise, and traffic. Those were my 3 biggest complaints. But everybody moved to Elmhurst because they wanted the location. They wanted to be close to the airport. So we're a product of our own challenge.
Yeah.
So but we need leadership that is a voice that will say, hey, we have airport, but what can we do to make the planes quieter? We have a zone that we can get money for. What can we do to make that zone bigger? So as your leader out in D.C., I will be advocating for airport issues, for stormwater issues, and this is why the mayors really are behind pushing a mayor to Washington. It's probably going to cost Villa Park $60 to $100 million to fix their stormwater problems internally.
Right.
That's what it was going to cost Elmhurst, and not one town has that kind of money.
Right.
So we need federal support. We need federal money to help our communities with local infrastructure, and that will be one of my biggest, hopefully legacies if I get out to DC, is to try to bring home money to help fix the towns that I represent.
We've been alluding to something here. We have to go on. So we have to go on. We've been alluding to something here that I want to address, and that is that you are currently on the DuPage County Board.
Yes.
In District 2. And District 2 includes Elmhurst, Villa Park,
Downers Grove.
Lombard, Downers Grove, Oak Brook Terrace, Clarendon Hills, parts of Lisle, small part of Woodridge, and Naperville. So pretty wide area.
Of 14 communities.
Right. But everything we've been talking about here actually goes beyond that area. And beyond DuPage County,
Right.
The different districts that are in DuPage County, the 6 or 7 of them. So you now are looking forward to taking it up a step, not at the state level, but at the federal level, and you are running as a candidate for District 8 of the U.S. Congress, correct?
That's correct. I'm the Republican nominee for the Illinois 8th District, which represents about half the district is Cook County.
Okay.
The other half is DuPage County. It encompasses the majority of my 2nd district. I represent about 3 congressional districts currently as a county commissioner, and the largest is the 8th. And back when I was the commissioner for stormwater for the mayors, I was the District 1 commissioner. So I represented Villa Park, Addison, North Elmhurst.
North of the creek.
Everything, Bensonville, all the way
Right.
out to Bloomingdale. So the county's divided into 6 districts. So the 8th congressional district overlaps the 2nd district, the 1st district, and the 6th district. So those 3 districts encompass the 8th. And then we go into Cook County, into like Elk Grove, Schaumburg, Hoffman Estates.
And right through that $3.some billion
through,
project,
and that's why
West End.
I know this district extremely well. This is where I grew up. This is where I went to grade school, high school, and college. And this is where, as a mayor, I led 2 FEMA relief efforts, where I was told by my manager, "You're never going to get a FEMA declaration."
Yeah.
And I went out to D.C. I brought both Senator Durbin in from D.C. and I brought Representative Roscom in at the time. He was our representative in the Elmhurst. We walked the streets. We went into Villa Park. And they said, you know what, we deserve FEMA declaration. And with that came about $500 million in funding to help families and homes rebuild after the 2010 event and the 2013 events.
Yeah.
So, those are the leadership qualities I think I bring to the table of the experience of knowing the challenges of leadership, of bringing home a bipartisan effort to bring relief to our residents, and knowing the fact that, I told Senator Durbin, I said, bringing home this money is great, but we need infrastructure.
Yeah.
We need new sewers. We need help there.
Yeah.
We're talking
not the fancy stuff above ground.
We're not going to rain barrel ourselves out of this effort.
We don't want to start. We don't want to start in your basement no more.
Yeah.
We want to put it out
So when the seat opened up, I was encouraged, and I said, I've written 4 state laws in Springfield, so I've made my mark at the state level.
Yeah.
I am the state chairman of autism, appointed by 2 governors. That's another passion that I have. And I said, if I can make a difference, it's at the federal level. The state's got its challenges, and I'm hoping that the local guys that are here, Senator Cullerton and Senator Nybo, guys that I work with every day, can work through some of these challenges. But really, the big dollars that need to come locally here are from the feds.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm hoping to be the champion.
All right, Dennis, now your question from before. You asked Pete, as he becomes the new U.S. Congressman.
What does he got for Villa Park?
What's he going to do? Go ahead.
What are you going to do with Villa? The people in town, I would say they're more negative than the politics right this year. What are you going to do for Villa Park? How are you going to show me money in Villa Park?
Well, one of the biggest reasons why I'm running is capital infrastructure needs. And if any town in this district needs help capitally with infrastructure, it's Villa Park. And so the people of Villa Park, in fact, when I was mayor of Elmhurst and I went to the county, they're like, we love to see what you did in Elmhurst. I spent millions of dollars in sewers. I rebuilt
you
our
did
roads.
the south side off the creek. We gave you our award from Villa Park. Thank you for taking it.
You're
So
sitting next to a Salt Creek Sanitary District
that's right.
trustee.
That's right. That's right.
And we appreciate all that.
So the infrastructure that Villa Park is faced with is an old combined system.
We still have it in the center part of town. We still
Yeah.
got one system. We don't have a.
We need to separate that, and it's going to be very costly, as you know.
Yes, it is.
$40
million.
Yeah. So being able to bring home dollars from the federal government to help that separation, which is not only a separation to help flooding, it's also a separation to help sanitary, which is an environmental issue. Which, you know, so sanitary systems are a big environmental concern, and the federal government has got environmental dollars to help fix those things. So my goal as your representative would be to identify every capital project that all the towns that I would be advocating for need, and try to bring home as much as I can. And I would say Villa Park probably has the most to gain of any of them because they have the biggest need. And they also have probably the biggest economic need too. Okay. So arguably Elmhurst, you could say, well, you know, they have more of a tax base, so they probably have less of a need. So, and it's an argument. Villa Park has a lower tax base and not maybe the wealth that some of the other communities have. So and that's where you need a voice out there saying, hey, you know, we need capital money for sewers. We need capital money for our roads. You know, North Avenue could be definitely cleaned up in Villa Park. You know, do you have a downtown plan for Villa Park? So these are all different things. And having been a mayor and having done those things in Elmhurst, I think I know intimately a lot of those challenges, and that's why 26 out of 30 mayors are saying we want Pete Di Cianni out in D.C. You know,
And one of the things that
from the
you
north
mentioned,
side, north side of the Villa Park, we need a viaduct someplace along the railroad tracks.
so you need great separation.
You guys did it in Elmhurst years ago.
Right.
Palmer was in
Yep.
over there.
I was 1976. We did a referendum for the underpass.
That's right.
That was the year I moved to Elmhurst. I was 9 years old.
that is great, Tom. Just for traffic routing
Just for
through downtown.
Yep.
You ever sit at a train track and wait for an hour, you know, for a train to
Yes.
stop and go, stop and go, stop and go?
Yes.
We had the fire department. Good thing we have the other department to help us out when we needed help. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's safety. It's timing. You know, we had the hospital at that time, especially right where it was at. We needed we had people dying at the tracks trying to get to the hospital. Yeah. So, but it was definitely an economic boom
Big thing,
to our community. So.
Yeah, well, and you point out the fact that, you know, Villa Park has certain needs in terms of the underground infrastructure that we have. We just passed a $20+ million referendum for our road repairs. So, you know, and we don't have the tax base and the economic base that our neighbors have. So we've gone the 9 yards at this point in our cycle, where, you know, we haven't seen it yet, but it's going to come up on our property tax bill, what we just did with the referendum. We don't have a lot of room for that additional work that needs to be done. As Dennis has told us many times, the Salt Creek Sanitary District is coming near their capacity in rainwater situations because what do you pump, like 9 million gallons a day?
The last month was over 7 million.
But you can't peak to 9, right?
Yeah, we can peak to 9 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, you know, coming up to the ceiling of what that system can do. Yeah. So it's important to find other means to get these things done. And the underpass, Sid was a victim in the VFW fire in 2012. He was smoke inhalation. He was in the room, and if it wasn't for mutual aid, there would have been one engine there because the second engine was blocked by a train.
Yep.
On Ardmore.
And I can tell you, because my brother at the time was on the fire department. My brother actually responded to that call. I've got a picture of him pulling people out. My brother was a paramedic.
You pulled out.
Okay. Well, I got that picture. That brother is my youngest of 7, and he just graduated medical school on Sunday. So
nice.
He left the fire department.
Congratulations.
He's an emergency room physician now at Michigan State for his residency. But
beautiful.
But I got a picture of him bringing people out of the VFW. Yep. So, you know, we're all hands on deck when there's a challenge like this. Elmhurst responded, Villa Park, you know, Lombard. We've got great communities that step up. I know when we flooded, I had boats from Carroll Stream out in Elmhurst. Yeah. And Mayor Savarino is a dear friend, and I couldn't thank him enough because we were literally pulling senior citizens out of their homes by boat. You know, so but that's what, you know, mutual aid and MABUS and local government's all about is stepping up.
At the time of the VFW fire, we had no fire chief in Villa Park.
Yeah,
and we had a new one coming on, but he wasn't here yet. He was from Lombard, and he
our
came
current
over,
chief.
Our current chief, he's in the room next door right now. Yeah, and he came over, he took over the whole thing, and he ran the whole show.
Nice,
he did a great job.
Absolutely.
Pete, I've got something I want to say before we get off. As a representative, which we know we're going to vote for you. And yeah, I believe we should because he's a good guy. So far, what I've heard of him and talking to him, he's a good guy and will do us good. But you're also a representative of the U.S. of A. And you have, I'll bet, maybe a little lesser than Elmhurst, but you've got to worry about Los Angeles and New York and all that type of thing. And how do you think you're equipped to do that?
Well,
would you do that? Let me
first of all, I would say it would be an honor and a privilege to represent the United States. And there's 400 plus members of Congress, which make big decisions on national security, on economic development, on education. I mean, these are big decisions. And I would, can I do it? Who would have thought I could be a mayor of a town that I grew up in and lead it from, some major challenges to an economic vitality, a town of great economic vitality, a downtown that's bustling. 150 new homes are being built this year. So God gives you tools, as my dad would tell me. My dad was a business teacher at St. Joe's at the beginning of his career. And he goes, God gives you tools, and you have to do with the tools that God gives you. He made me a good businessman. Thank God for my father. I went to business school, and the nuns at Mary Queen, they taught me good ethics and hard work ethic. I ran for Joe Newton. I was on the four year in a row state title team that broke the national record.
Cross country.
For cross country.
Right.
So when you've got good bones, good genes, people that rear you, I think, that's equipped me to be who I am. That's equipped me to make decisions on behalf of the people of this district. And I would, I definitely would be a very responsible advocate for the folks of Villa Park, Elmhurst, and the 30 communities in the 8th district.
Well, I ask this and I ask
would be an
that
honor.
because we both served on our village board. Mine
Sure.
not. Well, we were important. I can tell you we were important because we had 23,000 people telling us what to do.
That's right. People calling you at home.
But,
How come there's so probably on the other side of town? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my neighbor's making too much noise. Oh.
I want you to know, I want you to tell us that if I'm still here on vertical in the good old U.S. of A. and not up on a cloud somewhere, that when you're inaugurated as president, we want to get a good seat in your inauguration.
He's skipping right over everything.
Yeah, let me go to Congress first. Let me help fix Villa Park, and then we'll talk about that later.
Well, all politics is local, right?
Absolutely.
So local issues transfer to a lot of different areas, and then you get to the big picture issues. But still, we got to go back to a couple of things that you alluded to today, and that is your advocacy and support for children, health issues, cognitive issues with adults, and autism. Tell us about that.
So from 1996 to 2006, I ran one of the largest children's charities in DuPage County called the Elmhurst Children's Assistance Foundation. And we help kids with life-threatening and disabling conditions: autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, juvenile diabetes, children's cancers, brain tumors. We pretty much saw it all. And we expanded our boundaries to help people from Villa Park, to help people from different towns as well by allowing employment. So if you lived in Elmhurst, you automatically were eligible for assistance. If you worked in Elmhurst and lived in Villa Park, we opened up that door. If you went to school in Elmhurst but lived in Villa Park, we opened up that door. And we've had many kids, unfortunately, in those challenges, and I was proud to help many of those families deal with really tough medical bills, uninsured conditions, etc., deal with the everyday challenges that they would face. In my 10th year, my own daughter, our third child, Brianna, was diagnosed with autism. And I was supposed to be, and my dad left teaching, he became a state farm agent, and I was the oldest son, so I was supposed to be the heir apparent to the insurance agency, heir child, I should say. I kind of rebelled. I started my own thing, and it took off, thank God. But my father taught me the business, and he said, God put you in this earth for a reason. You were always an advocate for people with challenges, and now you have an uninsured child, because the condition that she had wasn't insured in the state of Illinois. But if we lived in Indiana, she would have coverage.
Insured, yeah.
If we lived in Texas, she would have had coverage. So 2 states at that time had laws on the books. A third state followed through shortly thereafter, South Carolina, and I copied Those 3 states, and I made it better. I insured every kid on an individual plan, small group, large group. I insured police officers' kids, firefighters' kids, teachers' kids. It was the most comprehensive piece of legislation for autism in the country at the time. And it went through 5 renditions. It was a battle because we were taking on the insurance industry. Even though I came from the insurance industry, it was still, you're taking on the big guys. But we got it passed. It was the most sponsored bill in Springfield in 2008 with 97 House and 36 Senate sponsors. And today it's now law in 44 states. So the challenge we have is that without a federal law for the #1 medical condition affecting 1 in 45 children today, which is autism, nearly 2 million of the 3.5 million children are still uninsured because of lack of federal law.
2 out of 3.5.
So large companies that are called self-insured companies, for instance, the county self-insured, but falls under our law because it's government. But if they're a large company or self-insured, which is about 5 out of 10 kids, they don't have to follow state law. So my goal as a congressman would be to introduce Brianna's law at the federal level, insure every child in this country for a very, very difficult challenge to live with. And you know, one thing that was really unique about Illinois, we had 2 competing bills that year. One was for what's called habilitative services for all disabilities, and then we had Brianna's law. HAB services was introduced and failed for like 10 years running. I was the first to introduce the autism legislation. We had the numbers, and we had strong support. And I told them, if our bill passes, I will help you, and your bill doesn't pass, I will help you the next year. And vice versa. If your bill passes and my bill doesn't, hopefully you'll help me. And fortunately, we passed, theirs didn't. The following year, we opened up Brianna's law and insured every developmental disability. So Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, every developmental disability is now covered under Brianna's law. And that's what I would like to see happen at the federal level. These are children that are gifts from God. They have ability. They need to be habilitated and given the diagnosis early, the treatment. That's very expensive if it's out of pocket. Most people in this town could not afford it. I was able to. I do well, and I got my daughter a lot of help. And she went from a nonverbal kid who learned sign language to a kid who made the honor roll last semester and is fully verbal, very social. But her dad had the money and the resources to get her help. And I want to make sure, you know, the average Joe can have what my daughter had. And so Brianna's law does that, and now it needs to be introduced federally. And that's you know, my personal ambition is to help all these children, and that would be a gift. Yeah.
Well, everybody's affected by some portion of that spectrum of problems with children. And I have a nephew who has Down syndrome, and he's now 20-some years old, and he works for Gigi House. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Sure.
And that gives people with those types of challenges an opportunity to work and do active things. And we have employers in town that employ people who have cognitive challenges.
Correct.
And we're proud of that. And I want to thank you for what you do to help those that severely need that kind of support. So it's great.
Thank you. Well, it's important that they have a voice that they would normally might not have because they don't have a voice oftentimes. So to be a champion for kids to me is the ultimate, and I'd be honored and privileged to carry that bill at the federal level.
Well, one of the things that we like to do for anybody that's running for office while they're here as our guest is to give them time to just look at the camera and say what they like to say to our viewers here in Villa Park. So I'm going to give you the last minute or less, whatever you choose, to look at your camera right there and talk to the residents of Villa Park and tell them what they need to know.
The question we would have is, why should I vote for you?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm a homegrown kid. I'm 49, but I still think I'm a pretty young guy. I grew up.
You are in this group for sure.
That's right. I'm from this district. This is where I went to grade school, high school, and I went to college here. You know, I did it the hard way. I paid for college on my own. I started a small business to pay for college because I came from a big family. Started at a local junior college before I went on to business school at Elmhurst. And my siblings all went to College of DuPage. At that time, College of DuPage didn't have a printing program, so I went to Triton. But I think, you know, I'm a blue-collar kid that came from the ground up, worked his tail off, and I think that exemplifies a lot of the families in this district. I look at this as a very hard-working district of people that they're trying to put their kids through school, give them a good, solid education, get them to college, get them to a trade school or vocational school, and give them a good foundation. And to me, that exemplifies who I am. I came from a family of veterans as well too, and I can't thank enough my father-in-law who served this country in World War II as well, and my father's cousins who all fought Vietnam, to give us the freedoms that we oftentimes take for granted. But I want the things that I was able to achieve, I want our kids and our kids' kids to be able to achieve. I want strong education. I want great local public schools where my kids actually go to school, and I want that for our future. Vocational education is so important to me, to be able to learn the trades, to be able to learn technology and different things, to open people's minds and give them a career path, whether it's being a nurse, whether it's being a cop or a fireman or a printer like myself, or even a fireman that becomes a doctor like my brother. So I think the DiCiannis exemplify the average family in the 8th District. We're hardworking, we're business people, we're entrepreneurs, we're dedicated public servants. If you look at my family, my wife's a nurse, my sister's a nurse. We've got 3 CEOs in the family. Our DiCianni Realty is my sister. So we've got a mixture of people, from 4 sisters to 2. There's 3 of us boys. I would really enjoy representing this district. To the business people that are out there, you will have a small business advocate that will be a fierce fighter for small business. And knowing how difficult it is to run a business, how difficult it is to make payroll every week and employ people, you will have a voice and a champion out there. So, and to my local mayors, you will have a champion to help your communities, whether you have stormwater issues, whether you have road issues, whether you have transportation issues. You will have a fighter out there in Washington that will listen to you and will take your phone call. And you're not going to see it, you will see me in the community as you've always been. At the parades, at the Jewel, at the Mariano's in Elmhurst.
At the Dan Gibbons runs.
At the Dan Gibbons runs.
Right.
You can take the kid out of the neighborhood, but you can't take the neighborhood out of the kid. So I grew up at a very humble bungalow up on the north side of Elmhurst. Italian-Irish parents that really gave me a gift, and I'm looking to give that gift to everybody here listening. So it would be an honor and a privilege to represent you in Washington.
Mr. DiCianni, Pete, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Folks, you've been watching Uptown Villa Park, and our guest was Pete Di Cianni. He's a candidate for U.S. Congress, 8th District in November, a Republican candidate, and it's been a pleasure and an honor to have him here as our guest. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
Pete.
you. My
You're
pleasure.
very impressive. You've impressed me so much.